Hello and welcome to another Warnocast of SD League Season 5 in the Division 4. Today with Zaywan versus Cheyenne Mountain Complex. I will call him Underground Tunnel Enjoyer because that's how he's called in Discord and on the SD League website. So don't get confused by the names. Something I noticed when I looked at the Pick&Ban tool, there were multiple icons for random picks. So just as a reminder for the players, during the breaks in between the phases of the Pick&Ban, you don't have to immediately press ready to continue. You can first think, what do you want to pick or ban? Search for the icon and only press ready and make your selection once you know what you want to pick, so that you can avoid having random bans or picks. And we can see DivMob and Multinational Airborne Division, MNAT, two divisions that were banned on purpose. So maybe Zaywan doesn't want to play against this light division. But as we can see already, there is a light division on the side of Underground Tunnel Enjoyer. So maybe it didn't work out quite as planned. We will have to see how that works out. And the first map we will have Black Forest, where Zaywan picked 4E and Underground Tunnel Enjoyer picked 157 Yar. While the second map will be surrounded with 6th Infantry Division Light against 16 DE Panzerdivisie. The first division is 4E by Zaywan. It's a division that is played quite a lot in the league, so I think most people already know about it. In the logistic tab we can see 3 cards of supply trucks, 1 CV, infantry units, the Natras, the reservist units, with veterancy level, however, not like the usual reservists where you have 0 veterancy on them. The Genie for close combat, we have 2 cards of Tau 2s, and the Panzer Infanterie with a YPR, Infantry Fighting Vehicle. In the tank tab, we see a lot of Leopards, the B variation with veterancy, and also the C variation with veterancy, 2 cards of command tanks, and the cheap 1NL variation. I did skip the artillery tab, but it just has 2 M110s A2s with veterancy, and the mortars. In the recon tab, M113, Verkernas AT. Those are the ones without special traits, while the Verkernas, they do have special forces, shock, airborne, and the GSR. So while they are lighter in the weapon department, they do have better traits and therefore cost more. In the AA department, we see the cheetah. That's very effective. Not just against helicopters and a bit against blind, but also against infantry units. So a very important unit. I hawk without veterancy, in case that matters later. No helicopters for this division. And in the sky we can see 2 cards of F-16As for the AA support, 1 cluster card, 2 HE bomber cards. For Underground Tunnel Enjoyer we can see 156 Yar. In the logistic tab we can see 2 cards of CV and 2 cards of supply trucks. While in the infantry tab, the main focus for this division, a lot of cheap infantry units, some with the reservist and the militia trait, while we do have the military police to reduce the effect of these traits. We have the Zaperi for the close quarter combats, but not many infantry fighting vehicles in this division, mostly with trucks for the infantry units to go to the front line. But we do have the Mutterstreiki with 1 BMP, so that might help out a bit, and of course 1 card of a CV leader. We can see in the artillery tab quite a lot, definitely more than in most other divisions. 2 cards of rocket launchers, the Berek, the 130mm self-propelled artillery, 203mm howitzer gun, so that will hit very hard if it does hit. And we also have a 280mm mortar howitzer, and a smaller variation with a 100mm reservist howitzer artillery. In the tank tab we can see just some light tanks, a TO-55 with the flamethrower, so that's quite interesting. The reservist T-54, but the more expensive tank in this division, the T-55 AM1, comes with the rocket that has 2,800-meter range and 18 penetration, so that will matter to keep your enemy at distance. In the Recon tab, just one, that's Vetka. There's also the Reservist trait, so that's not a scout you use for combat, but just to be the eyes of your other units. AA tab, we can see 2 cards of Strela with Veterancy, the 130mm gun, and the Krug with some very big missiles. While in the helicopter tab, we can see 2 Me helicopters, ATV. Yeah, they're exactly the same with Veterancy. And in the air tab, we can see 1 Su-50 TM as AA coverage, the T-10K with triple AA rockets, so 2 cards for AA for the anti-air combat, and a cluster and an AT plane. So that will be interesting to see how these two divisions play out on Black Forest. On the left side we can see Zaywan in blue with his 4E Division pick, while on the right side we can see Underground Tunnel Enjoyer with the 156 yard. If we look at the deployment, well, the first thing I notice, it seems like there's a big blob for the red side down on the south, while the blue side is spread out a lot more. We have the KTC Verkernas that will go with. This doesn't have a movement command yet, but I assume it will be more in the middle, while this one is for the south, and one for the north, directly into the tower with an M113 as fighting support from the back. We can see behind it, well, actually all of them going to the Alpha, to the big town. So a CV, ATGM, the Genie for the close quarter combats, and the Leopard 1NL for firing support. So a lot of focus and investment for Alpha, and no attempt to really take Charlie, just some scouts to maybe secure it if your opponent does not help out with it. In this group is no AA unit, so let's see where these are going. And they don't have a movement command either, so maybe I stopped the replay too soon before the match started. So it will be interesting to see if an AA unit will go somewhere to the north to protect these units. And we do have one more ATGM as vehicle and as TOW2 infantry unit together with a CV. And I'm already noticing something I've seen before that might not work out, as the leader is directly on a fast movement command to the second zone. So it might go the road this way and skip the first zone, and then you don't capture it. So a movement command here and then with shift click to the second zone might be needed to capture both zones in one go, instead of having to go back afterwards. So let's take a look how the red side counters this. You can see double infantry scouts going directly to the zone, so there might be a first skirmish, while we have a big blob that's actually spreading out in all directions. So because there's no road going up north, they all start on the same road basically. I'm not sure if that's the shortest route, but I mean it's easier to deploy like this, I guess. So let's check. We have a 130mm AA gun going down south. The Strelas are all for the north, while we do have the infantry units and the CV. It's actually one infantry unit going over here, so trying to maybe do some backline action and securing the supply road. The tanks will go both to the center. These two tanks. There are more tanks, and those all going up north. So a lot more investment into the north, so the north definitely will go to the red side. But I'm not sure if he's too light in the rest of the map with this investment. And something I noticed, his tanks are on the fast movement command instead of the movement command. I'm not sure how it's called. I think Hunt is the quick attack move, where they move over the route, while there's a movement command where say, do the fast movement while stopping when they see an opponent and start firing. So that's something you might should consider, so that your tanks don't run into infantry units, for example, and get destroyed while you're not looking. So yeah, so much about the deployment. I think I've already exceeded a bit to talk about all these little details and checking every little road. So yeah, let's head straight into the battle and see who will come out on top. So I did stop the replay too early before the end of the deployment. So there's one change that I noticed is a reservist infantry unit going to the north. A little bit of improvement on the positioning was done down here, and the units are moving over the field, so it would have been better to deploy them on the open field instead of on the road altogether. And the iHawk and Cheetah do have the movement command now. iHawk getting deployed behind this big town. Cheetah going over here to give some firing support in this direction, most likely. But rather light investment into the south, but it won't be contested. So I still think Zaywan will be able to take the zone for the time being. And there's an F-16 in the air to support the unit, so the lack of ground AA units in the north, not as bad. Or in the south, most of them are going to the center. And we do have a movement command in the zone first. You don't really need to go into the open field. It would be fine to stop on the road and then continue your path. More units aboard for the center. So underground tunnel enjoyer wants to secure and defend the zone better, which makes sense. I think he has a little bit too few units in that area. And he is first in the zone, in the north actually, so the KCT Valkyrners, despite being special forces, not fast enough. And the Ratsvetka gets the kill actually in transport, so not much of a chance now to get back into the zone. I believe the BTR with a medium machine gun against the M113 with autocannon probably will lose, but I'm not sure if Zaywan will be trying to challenge this area now, or if he will stay defensive. And leader in the backline for Zaywan not moving yet. As mentioned, shift command to go in this zone first and then into the next zone. Might tap out. The T10 actually hit immediately by an iHawk and maybe get some damage by the Cheetah, but with 1 HP does make it out alive. So that's the 270 point plane. That's now missing when the HE bomber comes in. But the infantry unit smartly moved away. Does survive, and triple stinger chasing away the HE bomber, but it has dropped its bomb anyway. The military police car is actually being sold. That's one of these special transports that you can actually use. Not just to transport your units, but to keep them close to reservist units to have the same effect as the military police infantry unit that was inside. The reservist, excuse me, reservist commander now in fight with the KCT Valkyrners. And the zone actually went to the red player. That surprised me because he invested so little in it, but the Pratt and Tow 2 cannot help against an infantry unit. So that one command unit is enough to take the zone. And the KCT Valkyrners aren't really great fighting unit by themselves. So the commander takes the zone. And in the north, the Genie can move forward. There are some more infantry units for support. But we can see a lot of red units that are probably not spotted yet by Zaywan that can help out and support. One of the BTRs from the north. You can see or hear a bit of combat in the center. But just some damage done. No kill yet. One of the BMP ones, actually two of them, up here with a Motorstreiki trying to bother that Leopard. The commander actually still pushing forward. It could be dangerous, but we know that there's no unit that can challenge it at the moment. And we can see a lot of reinforcement now for Zaywan for the south. And actually a little bit of a push maybe in the center, but it might be a bit too far forward as deployment. Reservisti, I don't think they can shoot that far, but actually the smaller circle is for the rocket launcher, and it's not far enough to get to this road. So it will not get a kill on any units in this area, but it's still dangerous to take that pass where you haven't secured it. And it's lucky that the transport takes this way up north first and then to the building instead of going down here and then upwards, and would get destroyed by the Reservisti. HE bomber actually flying over a dangerous territory with triple Strela and the Krug in the air. It did drop the bomb. We do have another replay where there's no kill feed, so that's very annoying for me, so that I can't see all of the kills that I missed. And a lot of infantry units moving through the forest. Maybe they will get the YPR leader. It has a heavy machine gun. While the push in the south starts for Zaywan. There's just the leader and the 130mm gun near. The BTR might be able, well, no, it doesn't have the range to really support. BMP-1 might be able to help out a bit. And we do have a BMP-1 over here with an infantry unit as well. But over here, the transport now got destroyed and more than enough infantry units to take on the fight. But the Genie with the satchel charges against units inside the building, if they would get closer, but they can't use it at this range. But otherwise, that would be very annoying when you have your units grouped up, clumped up in one building, and then you have a satchel charge thrown into your face. That's never pleasant. The YPR in the north got destroyed. Also the cheetah, I think it was. Or no, that's probably the cheetah that got saved. So no infantry unit at the moment over here, but already reinforcements on the road. Double HE bomber and a scouting helicopter. We see the first more heavy tank for 4E. There are a bunch of Leopards 1NL on the battlefield already, but now the 2A4B variation. Since it is a division that focuses a lot on the heavy tanks, the Leopards, it is the thing that you want to buy and build up. So it's good to see that Zaywan now starts to get some numbers with these heavy tanks. So 130mm gun might get killed by a Leopard if it gets vision, but it is unloaded before the Leopard can shoot. So at least it will survive for a little bit longer. So the blue forces now able to capture the southern zone, but that will only stop the point tick, and underground tunnel enjoyer is already at 450 points, which means Zaywan has to push eventually in some direction. One possible road would be to go through the south towards the back zone, but that's obviously dangerous with so many units in the center. We can see the first artillery piece in an M110A2. It doesn't shoot yet, but that could be very annoying, for example, for these triple Strela missiles in the building. And actually there's already 100mm artillery trying to take out the TOW2 and maybe annoy the tanks. And actually two of them. Crook in the forest. I'm not sure if that's a good positioning, if the Crook can see enough to fire early at the planes, or if the disrupted line of sight will bother it while taking aim. Double Me helicopters now for the south. Another TOW getting fired at by artillery, but it's not accurate enough. And the M110 shoots back, but only at a supply truck. So that's not really a kill. Well, it's a nice kill, but probably not what you want to focus on with artillery and double planes. I think that was a bit of an overinvestment. Vampire leader still alive, but yeah, a lot of red units around it. So I'm not sure if that will make it out alive anytime soon. Me helicopter does have a lot of rockets, so does take it out. A lot of helicopters run out of rockets pretty quickly, but in this case, not an issue. Artillery now going on the Leopard 2A4. That's a lot better target, if the shells can hit. Well, that's a unit you definitely want to destroy as underground tunnel enjoyer. T10K in the skies against the F-16A. In direct combat, probably the red plane will succeed and win, but there are a lot of ground AA units that makes this a bit more difficult. We can see the second and third Leopard 2A4B. No C variation yet. Does not look like in the north the blue forces will succeed. I'm not sure what the plan with this blob is at the moment. Artillery still tries to take out the TOW that is out of ammo. Supply truck trying to heal up the Volcanas. So far, nicely played by Underground Tunnel Enjoyer. Artillery still tries to kill this TOW. They are the reservist artillery with... well, that's a tank gun accuracy. But I think it has relatively low accuracy. At least that's what it looks like. Still doesn't get a kill. Now it does. Finally. I just had to complain. That's how it works. You have to complain, then it happens. Leopard 1 and L under fire by the Me. And a lot more units board for the north. And the Leopard 2AB, or 2A4B, to be correct, sent towards the center, where the infantry pushes with the support of a tank. But you have a bunch of units not really taking part in the battle yet, while your infantry units at the front are getting murdered. The military police behind it, so that's nice to take away the reservist trade, but not that many units in the front to help out. So I believe that push won't work out, but the red forces still have to somehow deal with the Leopard 2A4Bs. So we'll have to see how that works out and if they will get a bunch of kills to swing things around. At the moment we saw one of the cheetahs going down, but also some tanks from the red side kicking the bucket. HE bomber getting too close to the Crook. So the Crook does have a good enough line of sight. And that's a dangerous AA piece to be around. Next cheetah under fire by artillery. The underground tunnel enjoyer doing quite well with artillery. The artillery is not doing well with hitting things, but underground tunnel enjoyer is doing a good job finding targets and shooting at them with the TOW2s in the south, in the center, with the cheetahs. with the tank. While the artillery of Zaywan, I'm not sure, it did shoot quite a bunch, but I haven't really seen where it was firing. Maybe it was trying to kill the Strela since they moved, but they aren't damaged, so I'm not sure. Artillery again trying to find the TOW2. It just seems like there's much more red forces, but the Leopard 2A4Bs might be able to make up for the lack of quantity with quality. HE bomber doing a bunch of damage, but I think he got no kills. And the artillery for the blue side is actually doing counter battery. So the 100mm gun stunned and destroyed. But as we have seen in the deck before the game started, there are a lot of artillery pieces for underground tunnel enjoyer. He already has two more 203mm and two 280mm guns. So with an already significant point lead of 770 points, plus 2 ticking, and 5 artillery pieces, keep firing. I think it's very difficult for Zaywan to now find a really good moment and location to push. He doesn't really have his units in one place to make a big attack. There's a leader Leopard 2A4 with another B variation behind it. So maybe with those tanks now he will try to make a push. One of the helicopters destroyed. And the F-16 makes it out alive. Cheetah finds some damage on the Razvedka. But the scout looks like it will make it out alive. Oh, never mind. The 2 tanks firing at it from the top. Now there are 2 tanks without infantry units in front. No scouts. That's a bit of a problem now to really continue this push. I think that's one of the usual problems you have with tank divisions. You need the infantry as support, but you don't have as many and as good as the infantry divisions, obviously. So it's a bit challenging to really use the combat arms effectively. Counter battery still going on to try and take out the 280mm gun. It is damaged and stunned, so maybe second shot, or the third shot actually, does get the kill. The counter battery at the moment working out quite well. Krug, I think, didn't find a hit, but something else, and the HE bomber has to retreat. A new Ihawk and the Pratt. And now the leader tank just drives into the zone. He has enough. But there are no infantry units for the red side in the south either. So the inferior tanks now have to fight against the Leopard 2A4s. And the solution to such a problem are usually planes. Cluster bomber comes in. I think he misses. Yeah. So the command tank does survive. Cluster plane also made it out alive. 130mm gun doesn't have much of a chance against these tanks. Infantry units over here not really helping out at the moment. Not really threatening the supply roads, nor taking part on the combat. Artillery hits pretty close to the command tank, but I think it's aiming to the wrong spot where the tank was a moment earlier, and the shell that maybe would have hit, too late. And now the tank's moving up north towards the center. And a lot of reinforcements, but maybe you should unload them somewhere further in the back, not where your opponent is. And now they can support, like the tanks that are over here, for the center, and you can attack from different angles. 130 ZXCV under fire by artillery. But I think another artillery piece was just destroyed by counter battery. I'm not sure if Underground Tunnel Enjoy has realized that yet. But he keeps losing his artillery pieces. Beacon on the Eyehawk, so he noticed the rocket coming from there. Now we are at a situation where Underground Tunnel Enjoyer has almost 1000 point lead. So Zaywan has to find another zone, and the units down here in this house aren't enough anymore to really help out to go directly to the center or the back zone. So the defense probably will hold for Underground Tunnel Enjoyer. The helicopter finds another Naturalist infantry unit and the Leopard 2A4B. Artillery gets the Eyehawk, while the HE bomber does have to retreat. And actually the infantry units that were brought earlier will be able to make it to the zone because there are no units anymore to defend the zone. So I'm not sure if that's intentionally, that Zaywan said, okay, I don't want to invest into defenses, I need to push and get a zone to get the points. But obviously an open zone like this can get secured very quickly by your opponent, and then you have not one zone you need to take, but maybe 2 or 3 later. And that doesn't make it easier as well. The north at the same time, heavily secured. Definitely nothing going to happen over there. The 100mm gun almost out of ammo. While the 203mm gun and the 280mm artillery still doing fine. Another artillery piece bought. And the reservist infantry units will be able to secure the zone for the time being, but will not be able to help against those. KCT Valkernas being bought. Stinger will also not help against these infantry units. We don't have a leader at the moment for the zone in this house, for the Red Forces. I'm not sure if he will rotate the one from the center. No, he will buy a BTR leader to go to the forest down here. I think something that Underground Tunnel Enjoyer might be able to make better is to make use of this infantry blob that he has just standing around in different locations. He is moving forward over here, so he could maybe use a few units to threaten this supply road or to threaten the big town from over here. While in the center he seems to be missing units at the moment, which obviously were destroyed. So Zaywan might be able to take the zone in the center, at least temporarily, or at least contested, while the stadium is on the other side of the zone. I don't see a leader at the moment. The Leopard 2A4B commander on the way. And with 60 minutes left, you might need to just rush it now. Like it gets to the point where you have to get a point tick relatively soon, or otherwise you just don't have the time anymore, even if you have the zones at the end. The back zone is a +2 zone, and Bravo +1. It's unlikely that he will be able to get Charlie in the north, so his best chance probably to push through in the center and get the back zone as well. But as we can see, he will lose the south positioning. So it seems pretty difficult now for Zaywan to really get the points anymore, even if he gets a better situation on the battlefield with the units, which at the moment it doesn't even look like he has an advantage in. I don't think I've seen a single Leopard to a 4C, which is the best tank the version 4E has to offer. Oh, the Pratt. It doesn't get the leader, it gets one of the reservist tanks. And actually hit by the artillery as well. So the zone in the south will get captured by underground tunnel enjoyer. And even though the zone in the center will get contested, that seems to be something that will pretty much end the game a bit sooner, I would say. That will get eventually to the point where Zaywan will realize that he can't get the points back. Still some nice counter battery, and on the other side the artillery play to destroy the heavy tanks, together with the planes, have been very effective. Not much ground Zaywan can take while his units get destroyed like that. Leader tank under fire by the faggots that are just standing around in the field trying to move through. I really like that underground tunnel enjoyer took so many artillery pieces and actually used them. So that was quite the game changer. Yeah, now with the planes coming in to probably get the kill. Oh, it will be close. It is close, but not getting the kill yet. But we can see more infantry units pushing forward. They will probably be able to take out these Natras reservist infantry units. Once they are stressed, they are not as efficient anymore. There's no military police force unit to help them to remove this reservist trait. And in the south there's another Leopard command tank, but it's a dangerous location to just run in, especially with the artillery and planes we mentioned earlier. We haven't seen any smoke play from either player, but I believe with 1000 point difference it doesn't really help you to just take the corner of a zone for a moment. You really need to secure the zone and take it for a longer period of time. And that's something where I think Zaywan made a mistake, taking the zone but not securing it. So now he has to fight over a zone that did belong to him earlier. And he just gave it up for free, basically. But maybe it was a high risk, high reward kind of situation where he said, I need to take all of my points for the center to push through. And take the risk that maybe the south will be taken, but maybe the opponent won't think about just running in there. But underground tunnel enjoyer did not get fooled, did find the hole in the defense, or the lack of defense rather, and managed to secure the zone, get more points than he already had. The artillery, I think, out of ammo? Yeah. The supply truck is empty, and so is the artillery. Planes killing each other. Oh, well, one of the planes got destroyed by the F-16, and now the crew not able to get the kill. So the F-16 will make it out alive. 11.5 minutes left, and the blue side finally on a point tick, finally at 2 digits in the points. But forgot already shooting at the Leopard. And the CV in the center and the south is still alive. So nicely played by Underground Tunnel Enjoyer to keep those alive. And once the leader on the other side is destroyed, he will probably move back in. Forgot in the open will get destroyed. And now the infantry units moved a bit further forward. Got a kill of a transport, I'm not sure what was inside. And the next command Leopard tank already on the way. HE bomber tries to take out those infantry units, but he doesn't have vision and they are moving, or they moved away. So no kills. Same as with the coup, no kill. And now with a bunch of reinforcements, the red forces take the center again. Command unit destroyed. CV of the red side going in. And that will stop the point take for the blue forces. And that will make it pretty much impossible. Well, maybe not impossible at the moment, but very unlikely that Zaywan will be able to take back the lead at any point. Military police force tries to unload deeply into the center zone. That was not really a choice. Yeah, if Underground Tunnel Enjoyer would just send some units towards the big town, it would get taken pretty quickly. Zaywan running out of units in almost every location. The command tank over here maybe tries to go for the center, but it looks very difficult to really move forward. Some bombs and artillery shells getting thrown around. Missile hits the F-16, it has to immediately evacuate again. And the second F-16 at a bad angle gets hit after evading a lot of rockets, but now taken down. No chance. Just a superior number of airplanes now. The bomber not finding the kill on the 2A4C, so that's actually the heaviest tank now. But it's a bit too late now after more than 30 minutes. And there are enough units to counter it. The artillery is a bit of in danger now, or at least this piece. Is it in range for the tank gun? I think so. But that's a GG. Zaywan realizing he can't take enough points anymore, even if he gets an advantage on the battlefield. Kill ratio 1.5. So a relatively convincing victory for Underground Tunnel Enjoyer. He played it really well. I liked his artillery play and his positioning. Apart maybe from the blobs of infantry units that were standing around outside of combat for a lot of the time. And yeah, we can see quite a few kills on these units, but the first ski variation and the second one not getting that many kills. So they were too late to really support and change the battlefield. But on the other side, the early T-54s, 130mm gun helped out. The Su-25AT did get one of the Leopards and 2 leaders and 2 cheetahs. That's also quite important. Second Su-25, so those were really effective. One of the Leopard, 2 A4Cs, 1 B and 1 commander. I expected actually more kills on the artillery. Let's see where... There's 1 kill, 1 kill. It looked during the match like he got so many kills with it, but now on the kill feed I don't see it. Like I can see just single kills, but not really big amounts of kills. So that surprised me. I expected to be higher numbers. He did deal a lot of damage, so maybe other units got the kills in the end. But yeah, that was the first map, Black Forest. Let's head to the divisions for the second map, Surrounded. For Zaywan, this time he will play 16 DE. In the logistic tab we can see 1 card for leader, 2 card supply trucks. Infantry tab we can see some reservist, some military police. So as usual, to support these reservist units we have the MP. You can see some Fusilier with a IAFV infantry fighting vehicle to support them. Was absolutely unnecessary to read it that slowly, but never mind. The Milan 2, that comes with a Milan vehicle to support it. And we can see the command Fusilier that comes with a Humvee. While in the artillery tab we can see a card of M109A2 and 4 mortars to support it. And Zaywan seems to like his Leopards. I like them a lot as well. I prefer the 2 variation, but in this deck we have the 1 variation with 1 BE and the 1 A5 and 1 card of tank leaders. While in the recon tab we can see one of the drones, the M113 Scout. They class with 4-man airborne scouts that come in a Humvee that's also a scout, and the GSR Special Forces with 6-man to help out spotting more units. In the A tab we can see mostly the infantry Mistrals and the 20mm gun. No Gepards. I'm a bit disappointed by that. I really like the Gepards and the Cheetahs. So yeah, I would have definitely added that to my decks. But who knows, maybe it will be better. We can see in the helicopter tab the A109 and the HA2 and 1 variation with a tow 2 and 8 rockets instead of 4. That seems to be the major difference, and the rate of fire is also higher. And in the air tab we can see 3 cards of F-16 AA, 1 cluster bomber and rocket plane. So yeah, that's the division for Zaywan. Let's check the 6th Inf, the light infantry division for Underground Tunnel Enjoyer. In the logistic tab we can see 3 cards of M577 CPC leader units. So that's interesting that he uses 3 cards for leader units, and I would have liked maybe a helicopter to do some sneaky play, but you never know. Maybe it's better and safer to use an armored vehicle instead. It's cheaper as well. But yeah, I like sneaky attempts to go into the back zone and try to capture it for some points. We can see double Navy SEALs, the triple vet special forces with 9-man, with the 84 rocket launcher, with satchel chargers, special forces shock and the airborne trait. So those might be used for some early pressure. Flash engineers, the military police force once again. We can see some light recoilless rifle infantry units, some more military police. These come with a Stinger, so that might help out, but I'm not sure if this division really needs that many military police forces. Maybe I'm not usually playing it, so feel free to comment if that's the usual way to play it. But I don't really see the need if you don't have reservist units. You do have a normal airborne unit with shock trait and airborne. Also shock and airborne for the airborne. And this one with a dragon that has a longer range. You have the security, USMC. It's a bit confusing because these security units are with the military police force trait, and this security unit is without it. It has a security trait. So yeah, that's interesting. Also comes with a smoke grenade. I don't really see that very often on units that aren't leader, so that's interesting. And one of the leaders that does have it as well is the light rifles leader. So that's a force card of CVs. So 8 CVs in total for Zaywan. We do have a 105mm gun and 155mm tanks, just the Humvee tows. It is a light division. I'm not sure if would have been nice to have the reservist tows as well, but no, they're not that much faster. I thought they might be faster, but never mind. And we can see in the recon tab, one of the things this division has is the OA-10A, one of the A-10s, as a scouting plane with a big gun, the GAU-8 Avenger. And we also can see some scouting tanks. That's also relatively rare. The scout unit that come in a Humvee. So in this case he uses a helicopter transport. And some Alaskan Cav scouts with 8-man. So these are the scouts that pressure forward and take part in the combat. They do come with veterancy as well. so they will be efficient in combat. No LRS, no sniper, no pathfinders. So an interesting choice. In the A tab we can see 20mm VATs, Stingers and Eyehawk. Helicopter tab, Cobra and Tow Cobra. And finally in the air tab, A10 AT plane, a seed plane, cluster plane, AG, AT and AA. So a very mixed formation of planes, every kind of plane basically. And the F-15C as a plane to secure the skies. On the left side of Surrounded we can see in blue again Zaywan, and on the right Underground Tunnel Enjoyer in red on the right side. If we check the deployment we can see some units going up north and south for Zaywan, the scouts with Humvee tows to support and make sure that no vehicles can push through in the flanks, while one scout is going for the center, one 20mm gun VATS trying to help out from the north, while a big blob of units spreading out in the center, northern part of the center. We have multiple Leopard 1BEs, we have VATS, Mistrals, and just a bunch of infantry units together with the military police force to help out the reservist units with the reservist trait. While on the other side we can see a CV that will go to Alpha, supported by scouts, and it's actually double Dragon going over here in the north to secure the open field from that direction. Let me check, is there a CV in this group? There's 0 CVs for the blue side. That's interesting. So he wants to use the points to secure the zones first and then send a CV, or he has forgotten about it, which can happen in Division 4. It's not a shame. You can see the National Guard scouts trying to get to the northern area. Surprised that all of them are sent to the same direction apparently. The Nation Guard tank scouts. You can see CV getting the zone in the back first, then towards the south, while Eyehawk deployed over here. The second CV goes for Delta. So the first one goes to Bravo and then to the south, the other one directly to Delta. The Underground Tunnel Enjoyer apparently wants to take the zones very quickly. Does he have a CV for the south? It doesn't seem so. So maybe the one going to this zone will go down to this zone if he can secure it. If we look at the units over here, we can see the tanks also trying to make a pincer move. So he has tanks, scout tanks from both directions, and a scout landing with a helicopter over here to check the southern location. So there's no CV yet, but a scout to check what's going on over here. And we can see only one Navy SEAL, so despite having 2 cards of it, he actually uses only one of them early, despite having the airborne trait that they can go in quickly early and do some damage. The first plane already comes in, so to help out with the AA coverage. Another F-16 board early. Maybe it can pick off one of the UAs that comes with the scouts. But otherwise, no helicopter or planes in the skies right now for Underground Tunnel Enjoyer. And the Navy SEALs go to a dangerous location actually. The Eclairs have a low, rocket launcher. And they have enough range. And actually the Humvee will shoot first. So maybe Underground Tunnel Enjoyer will notice this. And the Navy SEALs do make it out alive. And now they can fight back. Will get the transport, and the Eclairs by themselves won't be able to fight against the Navy SEALs. So that worked out pretty well, and could have gone much worse if you lose these 90 points infantry unit. that would be rather annoying for the red side. The Vets start to give some support, however, from the forest, and the first tanks will also be able to deal out some damage. Another blue unit dying in the north. And one of the things that people realized about this map after a while, after it was released, the line of sight do mean in this map, in this open field, in this... Wait, let me explain. um, Between the buildings is so much open space that the tanks and other units can give firing support from further back, so the infantry units inside aren't as well protected as you might believe in the first moment that you see this map. So it's not really safe for infantry units to just stand around in buildings inside of this town, because they can get shot at from far away. That's what I meant to say. Was a difficult sentence to form. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why the early thought that this is an infantry map was later changed, that it's not actually as infantry focused as you might think. And you can also see some more units trying to fight in the north. So the focus is not just entirely on the center, but the Nations Guard, cheap scouting tanks, deal out a lot of damage. The MP unit, Revolte, not able to fight back against the tanks. I think there's another blue unit actually hidden behind that might be able to deal out some damage with a recoilless rifle. But yeah, it does get a kill, but then loses its life. One Leopard now trying to take on the ACAV tanks. But yeah, a pincer move with tanks from both sides seemed to have worked out pretty well. Now the Alaskans, Cav Scouts, the Special Forces, was special, no, never mind, it was Reservist, but triple veterancy. So that's an interesting combination. That's Reservist but very elite. The Vets helps out against the light rifles leader, but maybe the 8 Cav will be able to annoy them. While the push in the north doesn't seem to make much progress. Well, actually, might be able to make some progress. If the Alaskan scouts can get a kill on the transport, that would be quite significant. But so far, not finding a kill. The Humvee doesn't have armor and eventually does go down. For a moment I was surprised it takes so many hits and thought it has a heavy armor that I wasn't aware of. But no, it does not. That's now in combat against a tank, so that's not going to work out well. More Leopard 1s coming in together with some reservist infantry units and a vet. While actually a push, a little one in the south. I think the light rifles should get supported by the scouts maybe, but the Humvee with a heavy machine gun might be able to pick them off on the open field, so maybe that would be the wrong move. The leader actually moving out of the way of the TOW 2, so that's nicely played. So Underground Tunnel Enjoyer does pay attention to his units. And the Cobra moving in for the northern unit, and there is no AA unit in this area, so the Cobra can deal out a lot of damage. Perhaps take out the CP before it reaches the target inside of the zone. And the leader of the other side is still in the zone, so even if it gets contested, it won't be taken for long. Maybe the scouts need to move forward to find the target. I'm not sure. Actually, Cobra now a bit too close. And it seems to be losing the battle. Tries to retreat now. 1 HP. Does make it out alive. But the CP also still alive, so An answer has to be found. Drone scouting in the town. Just a big blob of blue units now over here. Navy SEALs getting picked off by the Vets. Have to run away. Might make it out alive, but I'm not sure how far they will be able to go. Especially with the drone spotting them now. But the zone in the south got captured by the red player. 2-2 not able to find a target. So reservist infantry unit with a Leopard sent to solve this problem. But more units from the red side coming in as well. AT plane flying over dangerous territory. Takes some damage, but seems to be able to make it out alive. And we can see a Vets being brought in by a helicopter. I actually didn't pay attention in the deck that one of the Vets is brought in by a helicopter, so that's nice to see. Quick AA, ground AA being sent in by helicopter. You can see more reservists. Mistral as AA ground unit. Still no AA in the north, however, so the HE bomber comes in, gets the kill, the zone will get recaptured, and then we'll have a +3, I think. That's it, or is it a +2 zone? No, it's +1. So 600 points already for Underground Tunnel Enjoyer. +3 ticking. No CV for the south at the moment, so even if he kills the units, can't take the zone. So similar as on the first map, able to take quite a convincing lead. Artillery now on the field as well. That happened a lot on the first map. And the CV will make it into the zone. There is no red CV in the zone at the moment. And a push forward with the Leopards to pick out some of the infantry units that are too far away to shoot back. Actually, the artillery might be in danger if those Leopards continue to move forward. I think that will get answered by a plane. Like, this looks like a prime target for some cluster bombing or something like that. Artillery not shooting at the moment, not taking aim. Infantry units just picked off one by one. Still no leader in the south, but it is on the way. So that will stop and change the point tick. Vet able to take off the drone, but now spotted by the tanks. And the artillery starts to fire. Double AA planes to protect the tanks that are now threatening all of the units that are coming in. But Underground Tunnel Enjoyer does react in time to save them. AT planes now coming in. Double A10. And I believe they got a bunch of kills. I didn't count, but it was more than 2. And immediately the infantry units sent into the zone again. Might still be a bit dangerous, but seems to work out fine. F60 makes it out alive. Flies over the Vets, but not taken out. Stinger's also not getting a kill. The zone in the south cannot get captured as long as the CV is still alive. And the light rifles leader might try to take the zone back in the center, or at least contest it. The CP over here is still alive, somewhere hidden behind the tanks. But the light rifles have to retreat for now. They took some significant damage. Use of security gets overrun. But despite having a healthy point lead, I feel like Underground Tunnel Enjoyer is losing the control in the center and just doesn't have enough units in the back to really stop this advance. Maybe these tow cobras will be able to change that. But if this snowballs, then maybe Zaywan will be able to take the map. Because if he just has superior numbers and Underground Tunnel Enjoyer is not able to come back and just keeps trading equally or worse, then eventually the points will go back into the favor of Zaywan. HE bomber taken out by the F-16. So at the moment things going quite well for Zaywan apart from the point number. But in the trades, definitely an advantage for the blue side at the moment. The quality and quantity of units for the blue side in the center just way superior. Artillery trying to take out the Leopard 1. But even though it was stunned for a moment, able to move away in time. Yeah, I'm wondering what Underground Tunnel Enjoyer's mistake actually was. It seemed to go quite well, and then there was just this huge blob of Leopards that he wasn't able to deal with. The A-10s able to get a bunch of kills, but still enough tanks were left over with the reservist infantry units to pretty much take the entire center now. And I'm not sure if the A-10s were the wrong investment or if he was lacking infantry units or what the issue was. Maybe some ATGM units in the back. Maybe that would have helped. You can see some airborne that are going a path that is likely to be their last. Actually, one of them, that was rerouted. And the first one getting killed in transport. So that road not working out. Navy SEALs now being bored. The airborne infantry units deployed before the hill and now moving into the zone, but it's already secured by infantry units. And the Leopard might be able to get some shots off as well. Plus we still taking for Zaywan 40 minutes to victory, and it seems quite well secured at the moment. The Lascan scouts annoying a bit in the back. At least the north seems to be pretty well defended for the red side. Another AT bomber coming in, misses the first shot. And does leave alive. F-16s coming in, but the plane already gone. Oh well, there's another 18. So maybe they will be able to get that kill. Ihawk getting a hit, and Stingers trying to get the kill. But can't get it. Oh, that was the Ihawk. So one plane going down. You can see Navy SEALs now coming in to support this push. But the airborne's already moving in and getting damage before the Navy SEALs arrive. Not really any support behind them. So that doesn't seem like a push that will work out. And the Navy SEALs try to sneak in from behind, but I don't think that will work out either. More Leopards coming in, which seems like the right move. They work out pretty well at the moment. Artillery not getting picked off just yet, even though it's quite close to the blue units. But it's not firing either. Cobra in the north got repaired, but not in the air right now. Actually, the transport after unloading sent forward, but they just got captured without the tank shooting and revealing itself. Never mind. Tank actually immediately destroyed by the AT-84 rocket launchers. So now the Navy SEALs can move in without getting damage from afar. But we can already see more Leopards coming in to support the units in the zone. And more Leopards coming in as well. Reinforcements on the other side. They're away 10A Scouting A10 and the M577 CP is trying to get into the zone, but this starts to look like a desperation move. And the OA immediately shut down, so no luck for the red player at the moment. Bombing one does kill a infantry unit. AT plane not able to find a target. Navy SEALs already damaged quite a bit. Leopards can shoot from rather far away. So as mentioned, despite this looking like a town without much line of sight, the tanks do have enough open fields in between those buildings to shoot from afar. So not enough coverage for the infantry units, and they can get picked off quite easily. And now we are with less than 100 points difference in draw territory, and the +3 continues to tick. Doesn't look like there's much actually that Underground Tunnel Enjoyer can do, and he accepts that he will not be able to turn things around, and Zaywan takes the second map with a 1.14 kill ratio. And you can see the Humvee tow did a lot of work. Actually killed 2 helicopters. That's not something you see very often. The Leopard 1s, those are the ones that just got a bunch of kills, were very efficient rushing forward. The ACAF National Guard tanks were also very efficient in the early game with the flanking action from the south and the north of the center area. But eventually the Leopards did take control over the battlefield. The A-10s did kill 4 of them, but were not able to really slow down the push enough. The Navy SEALs just getting 1 kills each. That's just not enough for an expensive Special Force infantry units. And the first Navy SEALs only killing the transport, not getting any more kills. Yeah, that did not work out very well. So yeah, that was Zaywan versus Underground Tunnel Enjoyer of SD League Season 5, Division 4. If you want to see more Warno action, stay tuned for this channel, and I see you next time.